McCauley of Pray It Off in Syracuse, New York. I have announced, and I will announce it again, that this session we are going to talk about living with joy. Because life is so short, isn't it? I know one person said to me, I went to 7 funerals over the holiday break. Every week someone's not here because they're at a wake. We do not know when the Lord will call us home. So we can be depressed over it, we can be anxious over it, or we can try to live a healthy life and live a joyful life. Live with joy. Because there's always going to be world issues. There's always going to be terrible fires, terrible accidents, the loss of people we love. And we need to ascertain what is it that brings us joy. Because happiness is an emotion. Joy comes from God. Happiness depends on what happens. It's a reaction. Okay, you win the lottery. Woo-hoo, I'm happy, right? I just got picked as the first prize winner in this year's Syracuse Poster Project, which I'll tell you more about, which I'm thrilled about. But I was thrilled, I was excited, I was happy. But joy. Joy is a byproduct of being a child of God. We trust God and we believe His promises. Even if we face the shadow of death, we can still have joy because all of us are going to be called home sooner or later. All of us are going to be there with Him. So we need to live the best life we can, try to take care of our temple, and try to live with joy, okay? No matter what we have to face, He wants to help us through it. Will a hot fudge sundae hold our hand and take us through our problems? We think it will. I'm just going to eat this whole pizza and then I will feel better. But we know it doesn't work. I'm going to go sit in adoration and just pray before the Blessed Sacrament. There's peace there. We look for joy in maybe, if I only could get married, I will find joy. Or if I only won the lottery. If I could only retire. If my kids would grow up and move away. If this happened. If that happened. I would be happy. I would be joyful. If only I could lose 50 pounds, then I'll be joyful. It's not the way it is. Life is life, which means it's going to be a cycle of ups and downs, mountains and valleys. But joy is when we have happiness that doesn't depend on what's happening in our lives. Look at St. Paul, who sang hymns when he was in jail. Look at St. Paul, who said, I have learned to be content no matter what, no matter where I am. That is what we have to look for. And you know what's interesting? The things that we fear, the things that we are so afraid of, the tribulations, the sufferings, that's the very thing that God puts in our lives so we will turn to Him. How many people turn to God when everything's happy-go-lucky, etc., but say someone's sick, oh, Jesus, please help, right? When someone's happy, to say, hey, thank you for that, God. Not always. And you know, they always say there's no atheists in foxholes, right? If you're in the military and someone's shooting at you, oh, God, help me get out of here. So when we have tribulations and sufferings and persecution, we need to know that God is there and He lived it. Jesus lived it. No one knows what we're going through more than Him because He lived it. A saint doesn't know the joy of the Lord in spite of tribulation, but because of it. We can have joy no matter what. Because joy is a result of obedience. You know, I'm in pretty good shape, but I have a lower back arthritis. And a couple months ago, I got a shot of cortisone, and it worked wonders. Not at first, but after a while, I'm like, hey, this is good. So I said, how often can I get that? Every 3 months. But you got to go in. So I went in the other day, and in comes this pain doctor. Now, he is the cutest thing. I just love him. I love him. But all day long, he's dealing with people in unmitigated pain. And most people in unmedicated pain can be kind of miserable, right? So he comes in, I'm like, doctor, hi, how are you? And he goes, I needed you today. He needed a smile. He needed to be uplifted. We laughed. We had a lot of yucks, you know. And he's going to go on now and see his next patient and not be as down. So it's contagious. Misery. Do you ever go and like be in a kind of a good mood and run into someone and say, how you doing? They're like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And the next thing you know, you're in a bad mood. But if you run into someone and they're like, hey, how you doing? It's so good to see you. You leave and you're a little uplifted. That is our joy, to be joyful. Even if we struggle with our weight a little bit, do you think those people who lost their homes in California would say, lose my home, lose 10 pounds? What's worse? We need to really, and say, snap out of it. So you can't eat bread every meal. Is that the worst thing? All right, we need to be joyful. We need to stop, pause, pray. Stop and go, Lord, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for this life. Yeah, I got troubles. Yeah, I got problems. But I love you. And you can meditate on the love of Jesus, and then we can feel love and joy in our hearts. We have to stop thinking about, oh, poor me, I'm going to go to that party and I can't have 6 Michelob Ultras. And we have to say, no, but I'm going to go to that party and I'm going to be the light of Christ. I'm going to be fun and I'm going to bring light to everyone. We need to share our joy with others, not be miserable, and rejoice in the Lord always. I love how he says, rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I say rejoice because people aren't paying attention. Rejoice in the Lord always. Yeah? Again, I say rejoice, okay? We must find joy and live in joy every day, not because life is always good, but because we have a God who is always good. I'm going to stop right there, Bobby.